Hey guys, this is your girl Jennifer Land, the Crown Jewel, and I am back with another YouTube video. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So today's title is It's Time to Come Back, the encounter that will lead them home. It's time to come back, the encounter that will lead them home. And so a couple of days ago, early in the morning, I heard in the spirit, it's time to come back. It's time to come back. And so this is a word that may be for some people. It's probably not going to be for everyone. If you feel like this word is for you, as always, please take it back to the Lord. Pray about it. Take me back to the Lord and just pray about every single word that you get because again, not every word is for everyone. But I heard in the spirit, it's time to come back. And so for many of you that have been standing and believing for the reunion of your God ordained spouse, for your kingdom spouse, they are coming to the realization that it is time for them to come back to you. Okay. Now, I did a word similar to this, I believe, last week. And it was titled, It's Time for Me to Go. So, this is almost like a follow up to that word. So, if you have not listened to that word, please go back and listen to it. But many of the spouses, they are coming to the terms that it is time for them to come back to you. It is time for them to come back to the Lord. And so that's really what this is about. It is time for them to submit themselves before the Lord and start walking and living with the Lord. And within that, they are going to be returning to some of you guys. Okay. And so, as I told you in that last video, the Lord had been constantly tugging on them, telling them it's time for them to go back and it's time for them to go. And they were choosing to ignore God, but God is doing something new. Okay. There are a lot of things that we have seen in 2024, and we are going to continue to see these changes as we walk into the new year. And so, He's doing something beyond belief that many of us are going to even be able to believe when it comes to these God ordained marriages, these kingdom marriages. And so, this is why the Lord has been constantly pressing upon these spouses that it is time for them to come back to Him. It is time for them to come back to you. Okay. And so, the second thing that I heard was negotiate. And so, there are two things here. Number one, it's almost like God was in a sense when he's been talking to these spouses, he's been I don't really want to say negotiating because the Lord does not have to do that. What He says go, but for many of the spouses that are due to return, the Lord has revealed the plan to them. The Lord has revealed the blessings that is going to be upon their life when they return back to you and when they return back to Him and start walking in the way that the Lord wants them to walk. When they accept the call of God on their life, God is going to be doing some magnificent things with these spouses. And so, this is the Lord talking to them about these things. Like I said, He has revealed the plan, He has revealed the call, and you guys are a part of that. And so they are now realizing it is definitely time for them to come back. And so the second part of that is when the spouses come back, it is very important that you guys seek God, that you fast, and there may have to be some negotiation. Okay, many of you guys, you may have separated from your spouses because you were not aligned with each other. You it was almost like you guys were butting heads when it came to certain life decisions. And so the Lord is saying, you guys are going to have to negotiate and compromise with each other. Okay. You're going to have to do, it's going to be some negotiation and compromising. Again, you guys are two that are becoming one. So you cannot have everything your way. They cannot have everything their way. You guys are going to have to sit down, negotiate, and compromise when it comes to some of these things. You have to keep in mind this is all for the will of God. Okay, this is his will, and this is the way that he wants many of the spouses to he wants us to be, okay, with the God ordained spouses. And so we are walking in his perfect plan. Okay. And so within that, once again, you can't have everything your way. They can't have everything. So I want you guys to really sit and think about, don't really dwell on the past, but if there are some things that the Lord brings back to your remembrance where there was almost like a tug of war with you and the spouse when you guys were either in a relationship or if you guys were just around each other, you had a friendship and God has said this is your spouse, the Lord is going to be able to reveal some things to you when it comes to negotiating and compromising. So just keep that in mind. This union that is coming together, it is because of the will of God. So you can go out with your spouse and do the Lord's work. So just keep that in mind when there are certain things that may resurface. Again, the spouses, they are not coming back perfect. I've been saying that a lot. I'm going to continue to say that. But we have to be reasonable when it's time for these unions to come back together. And so the next thing I want to share with you guys, okay, like I said, the Lord has been constantly tugging on these spouses, talking to them. Some of them, they have been ignoring the Lord. And so I heard like a really, really loud voice. It was like the voice was speaking through like a large intercom, like in a football stadium. It was loud, okay? But I could not make out what was being said. And so this is the Lord speaking to these spouses. This is the encounter that God is having with these spouses. Like he means business. He is saying it is time for these spouses to get down to God's business, and that is coming into union with you guys, and once again living for him. But the voice, it was so loud. It was almost like someone was literally yelling in my ear with, I think you call those things like a blowhorn or a voice horn or just a loud intercom. And I could not make out what was being said. But this is the Lord having this encounter, letting them know he means business. It is time for them to do what he is calling them to do in this season. And so the next thing that I heard, I come into agreement. I come into agreement. And so this is the spouses letting the Lord knows that they finally come into agreement with what he is calling them to do, and that is coming into agreement with the marriage. When it comes down to the union, when it comes down to the call of God, when it comes down to living for God, when it comes down to accepting just the call that God has on their life in salvation. Okay. And so I want to give you guys scripture that is Matthew 18:19 through 20. And this is going to be the Message Bible. Take this most seriously. A yes on earth is a yes in heaven. A no on earth is a no in heaven. What you say to one another is eternal. I mean this. When two of you get together on anything at all on earth and make a prayer of it, my Father in heaven goes into action. And when two or three of you are together because of me, you can be sure I will be there. Okay, so you have been in agreement with the Lord from day one. Now the spouses are coming in agreement with God. They are coming in agreement with you. So it has already been done in the spiritual, and now it is getting ready to happen on earth. Okay. And so for many of you guys, if you feel like this is for you, I just need you to type down in the comments that I come into agreement with God's will for my marriage promise. I come in agreement with God for my marriage promise. Okay. I come in agreement. I step in agreement with all of you guys, okay, that are standing and believing for a God ordained marriage. And so the last thing that I heard congratulations. So the Lord is saying that it is already done. It is already done. These spouses, many of them, they are going to be coming in your direction in this season. It's going to happen any day now. You may get a phone call, you may get a text message, you may get a message on social media. I've talked about this in the past. You may get them, they may pop up at your door, at your job. We don't know how God is going to do a thing, but if you know that this message is for you, I urge you to prepare in every way that the Lord has told you to prepare, because the spouses are now coming in your direction. This is your girl, Jennifer Lynn, the Crown Jewel, and I will talk with you guys next time.